Hi, this is Samuel Peary with Getting Finances Done in 12 Weeks to Fiscal Fitness. In this screencast, we're going to talk about allocating our initial balances. In the previous screencast, we set up our accounts, and we have some initial balances there. In fact, our checking and savings account balances are available to budget in this month's budget. And so there are basically two options when deciding what to do with existing balances. One option is that you have that money reserved for some sort of savings purpose. For example, let's say in our savings account, that $3,000, we meant to buy some new furniture for that. We were saving up. And so maybe we want to just allocate that to a furniture category, and that tells us that that $3,000 is reserved, and we have $1,200 or $1,200 left to deal with. So that's the first scenario. So if you have accumulated any money in your accounts and it's kind of earmarked for a certain purpose, then go ahead and create the category if necessary, but put it in your budget and put that in the proper category. That doesn't mean you're going to spend it this month. It simply allocates it towards that category. And if you see in April, if we roll over here, that $3,000 is still there if we don't spend it that month. So I could continue to add, and let's say in April I added another $200 to that. That's just going to keep a continuing balance for my furniture purchase. So that's the first scenario if you're saving up for something in particular. The second scenario is you have money that you just need to budget. It's not earmarked for anything, and you can apply that to your budget. Now, let's say we were in the middle of March and we had this $1,200 left to allocate. Well, I would actually just go through and I would look at my master budget and see, what is the prioritization of my accounts, and I would start allocating that $1,200 to my accounts. And so that's one way that you can do it in the middle of the month. Now, in this case, I'm recording this on the last day of the month, so it's the 31st of March, and so I don't really have any additional budgeting that needs to be done with this money. I've already spent all that I'm going to spend this month, and in that case, I can leave the $1,200 to just roll over to next month, and it actually does that automatically. So with this $1,200, if I want to use it for next month, I don't allocate it anywhere, and that goes into what's called the YNAB buffer. And that's kind of their word for it. And it's not necessarily my favorite word, but it works just fine. So that $1,200 then rolls over to April, and I start with $1,200 to budget. Now this is a good way to get a month ahead, by the way. If you have extra money left in your checking accounts and you don't need it for this month's budget, then you can let it roll over, and that starts your month ahead buffer. And so now I have $1,200 to start with, and any additional income I receive in April, I can budget it. But if I've already filled out my whole budget, then I can actually put that into debt acceleration categories or other savings categories, or I can let it accumulate even more to give me even more of a buffer. And let's say my expenses each month equal $2,500. Well, I would just let that accumulate until that buffer reached $2,500. So that's what you need to do for the next step. Go ahead and allocate your existing bank account money until everything either equals zero or you're letting that roll over to the next month with the buffer. And that's it for this screencast. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon.